Guys, I just, I can't believe it. Just, time flies, man. Time flies. This is gonna be a very hard video to make because I'm still trying to, I don't know if accept is the right word. But my favorite band of all time is possibly going to call it quits. Now, some bands that do mean a lot to me: Breaking Benjamin, 3 Days Grace, Godsmack, Seether, Korn, Spine Shank, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, just to name a couple bands. But we're going to be talking about Godsmack today. This is a band that I've seen live about 4 or 5 times. I met the band back in 2018. In fact, I just recently changed my profile picture to the photo of me and the band from the day that I met them, and I will be leaving that as my profile picture because Godsmack are my favorite band of all time. And July 27th, 2018, the day that I met the band, will forever be ingrained in my memory and will forever be one of the happiest days of my existence. And you know, I've been a huge fan of this band since I was 12 years old. Godsmack was my first concert. Motley Crue was the headlining band. Godsmack opened up for them. They both put on a great show. I was up on my dad's shoulders, just rocking out to the songs and singing every word of every Motley Crue song that they played and every Godsmack song that Godsmack played. And Godsmack would always play Awake. Every set that I've seen them, they would play Awake, and Awake is my all-time favorite Godsmack song. Now, there are songs in Godsmack's discography that could contend for the #1 spot and knock off Awake, but I don't know, man. That day may come, that day may never come. Who knows? Yeah, man, I'm just shocked. I'm surprised. I know Godsmack has been a band for over 20 years, but it just feels it just doesn't feel real to me. You know what I mean? Godsmack formed in 1995 in Boston, Massachusetts. They released a demo album in 1997 called All Wound Up, which featured songs like Moon Baby, Whatever, Keep Away. And those songs later made it on to the self-titled debut album, Godsmack, in 1998. One of my all-time favorite albums, one of my all-time favorite debut albums, one of my all-time favorite nu metal albums. That first Godsmack record just means a lot to me. I played that record to death on my iPod and later on my iPhone, and would just listen to that album consistently, day in and day out. Never got sick of it. I still listen to it to this day, and the songs still hit as hard as they did when I was 12 years old. There's not a single weak song on any of Godsmack's albums, really. Granted, I am a super fan, so I am a little biased when I say that. Then you had Awake in the year 2000, which featured Awake, Greed, Vampires, Spiral, Trippin', Bad Magic, I think is an underrated song. Really, that whole second half of Godsmack's second record is underrated. The song Vampires, which is an instrumental track, I don't feel gets the love it deserves. Bad Magic, I think, is another underrated song from Awake. Then you have Faceless from 2003, Godsmack's heaviest album next to The Oracle, which came out in 2010. Faceless, another one of my all-time favorite albums, a flawless album as well. Same with the self-titled album and the second album, Awake. I think the first three Godsmack albums are flawless. I don't think there's a single weak song on any of those albums. With Faceless, you have the title track, Straight Out of Line, Changes, Serenity, Make Me Believe, I Fucking Hate You, Releasing the Demons. Just all really great, fantastic songs. Then we move to 2006. Another few years go by, and we got the album 4. And you have songs like The Enemy, Speak, Mama, Voodoo 2. Now, personally, I think Voodoo is better than Voodoo 2. I don't really know why Godsmack wanted to do a sequel to that song, but I think what they wanted to do was kind of do a song like Voodoo. It's not bad, but I definitely prefer the original Voodoo over Voodoo 2. A year later, we get Godsmack's greatest hits, Good Times, Bad Times, which features a cover of the classic Led Zeppelin song, Good Times, Bad Times. And I think Godsmack did a great job with that Led Zeppelin cover. And then, of course, after that cover song, which is the opening track to the Greatest Hits album, you have all the classic, or you have 15 classic Godsmack hits on that disc, plus a new song that was featured on Godsmack's 2004 acoustic EP called, pretty sure I'm going to butcher the name of the song. I think it's called Touche or something like that. But yeah. And then fast forward another couple years and we get Godsmack's album The Oracle, featuring songs like Whiskey Hangover, Crying Like a Bitch, Forever Shamed, and many other great songs. Good Day to Die is another great song from that album, The Oracle. And another few years goes by. In 2012, we get Godsmack's live album that was recorded in Detroit. They play all their biggest hits on that album. Really, if you think about it, Godsmack have two greatest hits albums. They have their greatest hits compilation that they released in 2007, and then in 2012 they pretty much just did a live greatest hits album, if you really think about it, because they played all the hits, and then they also included some cover songs on that compilation as well. They covered Nothing Else Matters, which was originally done by Metallica. They covered Time. They also covered the Beatles. I forget who Time is originally by, so forgive me on that, but they also cover a Beatles song. And they did one other cover as well. Then in 2014, we got 1000 Horsepower, which had songs like the title track, Turning the Stone, Fuck My Life, Generation Day, Locked and Loaded. And then fast forward another 4 years, and we got When Legends Rise, which includes songs like the title track, Someday, Say My Name, Unforgettable, Bulletproof, and many other good songs. So now, when I found out this news that Godsmack were thinking about calling it quits, I was part of a live stream. Actually, I was part of MJ Nation's live stream. I usually join his live streams and say hello to everybody and hang out in his live streams for a little while. And Brian delivers you the goods. Shout out goes to him for breaking the news to me that he mentioned in the live stream that Godsmack were going to release one more album and that it might be their last album. MJ Nation goes on to say, well, I think we all know who's going to be unhappy about that. Of course, he was referring to me because MJ Nation knows how much, MJ Nation knows how big of a Godsmack fan I am, along with everybody else who watches my YouTube channel, I'm sure. So yeah, I was kind of taken back by what Brian had said, and I was gonna look it up after the live stream was over. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to check this out now because I'm kind of worried. And I looked, and there was an article from Loudwire, which is a pretty trusted source in the world of hard rock and heavy metal. And there was an article that of an interview that Solierna did, and he said that the next Godsmack record might be Godsmack's last album. So after I found that out, read the article, excuse me, I came back to the live stream. Brian was right, and I had a hard time sleeping that night after that. And I had work the next morning. So yeah, just not a good night, I guess. So that whole day, I listened to Godsmack and, played all their albums, played the hits, listened to their acoustic EP, and was really trying to wrap my head around the fact that my all-time favorite band was going to call it quits. Now, this really goes for any band. Eventually, bands are going to retire. They get older. They finally get to a point where they can't do it anymore, or there's a tragedy inside the band, and they just can't continue under that circumstance. But, yeah, man, this one hit me real hard because, again, Godsmack is my all-time favorite band, and I'm still in shock. I still can't believe that Godsmack is thinking about calling it quits. Now, they have been a band for 25 years now, maybe a little more than that, but they are getting up there in age, and not every band can go forever, unless you're the Rolling Stones or fucking Tool or fucking not Van Halen, AC/DC. If you're AC/DC, Tool, or any of those bands that have been around for 40, 50, 30 years, then those bands are superhuman. Especially the Rolling Stones. I don't know how they haven't retired yet. They put out an album, I think, in 2016, 2018 maybe. But anyway, yeah, Godsmack calling it quits. I don't feel good about it. I really wish it was a nightmare. I really wish they were going on for a little longer. And, if this is gonna be Godsmack's last album, I just hope we get maybe a mix between When Legends Rise and 1000 Horsepower, or 1000 Horsepower and 4. That would be cool. If it's a mix between any of those albums put together, I'll be pretty happy. And if that's how Godsmack is going to ride out into the sunset, then I'll be content with that. But I promise you, I'm probably going to be eating a whole bowl of ice cream while listening to Godsmack from first record to last record, and possibly crying. Just gonna say it right now. So if you are a fan of Godsmack, Rather you're a fan, a big fan, a super fan like myself. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think about this. And let me know some of your favorite Godsmack songs, your favorite Godsmack album. If you've seen Godsmack live, tell me about your concert experiences down in the comments below. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Cheers to Godsmack. And I'll see you guys next time. Rock on.